wanted her to come over. Kasi kapitbahay natin eh. We have shared location, we have shared history, we have shared problems. So, pag nakita natin yung naalala natin, matandaan natin ang economic miracle ng Taiwan, and that is also what we missed out on, then we would see the way forward. So that's why Angelica was very important to this year's stand-up. Our next speaker po, coming over from halfway around the world, Mr. Mark Nelson.
Honestly, there's not a lot that I think I want to add right now standing up here. Our previous speakers did an incredible job, but I just wanted to mention why I'm here from around the world. I was a researcher and energy analyst in Berkeley, California, one of the homes of anti-nuclear activism back in the 60s that has now become one of the great homes of pro-nuclear activism around the world. And in 2017, I was sitting in my office, and a strange gentleman comes walking down the street, bursts in the door and says, "I'm here to talk to you all about nuclear." And we were quite taken aback and said, "Well, my boss isn't here, but if you just come up to our conference room, we'd love to hear what you have to say." And I heard the most extraordinary story right there from Congressman, not a congressman at the time, but from Mark here. And he said that we have a problem in the Philippines, that we built an outstanding nuclear reactor decades ago and have never turned it on, and instead just de-industrialized instead of turning on our own reactor. And I'm here to figure out how we can fix it, and I want to work with you. That was back in 2017. 6 years later, many things have changed. We now have a congressman here who is in charge of what I think will become, in hindsight, one of the most impactful committees that has ever existed in the Philippines Congress. And then I went from being basically a junior analyst, an assistant writer, to somebody who is talking with nuclear companies around the world, talking with countries around the world, talking with young advocates like those around you around the world. One thing has not changed at all: our absolute conviction that when looking at all the energy options in the world, none develop prosperity and protect environmental conditions in countries like nuclear energy. We've changed our minds on a number of things. We've learned, we've grown in these 6 years we've known each other. We haven't had any waver in that doubt. Instead, something different has happened. People around the world, thousands, tens of thousands of people around the world who are energy professionals, government ministers, grid operators of electricity systems, entrepreneurs in technologies of every type have, since that time that we met, joined us in this mission of bringing nuclear energy to the forefront of world affairs. Here's something interesting. Russia, China, USA, these are three countries that agree on not very much these days. All three countries have an absolute conviction that they need to bring nuclear energy to their friends and allies around the world. So for example, you see this chart of nuclear-powered countries. By the time I come here, maybe a year or 2 years from now, we're going to have to add a bunch of countries to this chart because of the number of giant nuclear plants that Russia is building around the world. This is happening now. China is filling up its coastline with some of the finest nuclear plants ever built, and they are insistent that this is going to be the way forward for their own energy system and the world. Do not listen to anyone who says the Philippines isn't good enough, isn't smart enough, or isn't capable enough to have nuclear plants. Do not accept that. Have some pride that you've built a nuclear plant already. You did the hard part. Nobody thinks that the hard part of nuclear is operating the plant. And now no one should think that the hard part of nuclear is even tearing down a plant. The hard part of nuclear is building a plant, and the Philippines is one of the only countries on earth that has demonstrated without a shadow of a doubt that you guys can get a nuclear plant built. You have it right here in your country. You need merely put the key in the ignition and turn it on. So one last thing before I think we go to questions. I do not represent any nuclear company when I'm up here, yet I know a great deal about what's going on in the nuclear world, and I'm willing to talk to you with exceptional openness. The nuclear industry is very bad at public communication. They have been scared and beaten down by decades of being told that they're evil and bad. So while they go around the world and just make enormous amounts of clean, cheap power, they also hide behind their conference room doors and worry about if reporters are going to say mean things about them. I don't do that. I don't care. I'm going to answer any questions you put to me. There's no dumb questions about nuclear in this space. And if there's anything that we don't know between the panelists up here, we will be rapid in getting you the answer you seek along with sources. So please, ask questions. We'll be quite open with information in a way that is our luxury because we don't represent any companies.